Good afternoon. My name is Eric Wachowski, and this is my book notes, chapter 6. Um, in reading these notes, I find it very interesting and pretty amazing that it is almost exactly where we are in doing the testing for next week. So I will begin. Now, in this chapter, it talks about all the things that we're doing at the moment, about taking the tasks that we are have written and built, and making these tasks into scenarios that the tester can do. In this chapter 6, the tester is going to be the hardest part I found to get this particular project completed. So going to the cafeteria, open area, commons area, and eating area, I walked up to a table that had a bunch of loud talking people, and I sat down and asked one of the 4 people if I could use them as a tester. And they actually said, one of them did say yes. They were very open and ready to take action and help another student, which I thought was amazing. So some of the resources I could think of would be the going to that commons area, eating area. You can do some cold calls for friends, cold calls to people that you talk to once in a while, family members. It all depends. You just need to have just someone that's going to test it and give you the most accurate and most information possible. That's not skewed, that knows you. So family and friends sometimes cannot be the best. And actually, I found this. Andy doing the testing was a really good experience for me to do. Now, making these tasks, you want to have these tasks. In Chapter 6 talks about making tasks, between 5 and 10. Upwards of 10 is better. I sat down and, thought sometimes 10 can be too many. 5 can be too little. So I kind of compromised and used between 4 and 8, but it can be 5 and 10, 4 and 8. It all depends. Most likely it's going to be an even number. And so what we're doing is taking these tasks that we now want to make into real life scenarios. Kind of like story problems that we learn in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Taking these story problems and presenting them to the tester in a simple and easy to read format. Explaining what the tester is going to do, where they're going to go, and how they're going to do it, making these real life scenarios, story problems, in front of this tester and letting them know what the goal is. Now, I thought the one thing was having 5 critical tasks turned into scenarios, or 4 critical tasks turned into scenarios. Basically, having the 4 most important tasks turned into scenarios, and having 4 additional tasks that weren't critical that could build on those critical ones. Now, in the earlier project, we only had 4 tasks turned into real scenarios. Moving forward, I most likely would have done more scenarios. Now that I understand the process and what is going to be better for the testing of the software, or the testing and getting people to do the things and get the information you need, the data. So always having more tests is going to be better. Learn that lesson on that one. Now, the do's and don'ts within this chapter are important. Kind of like the backbone of how each scenario should run. So explain to the tester. Well, first, I learned that, it just takes a little bit of reading and a little bit of thought just to go slow. And I went to did the follow directions, went to the site, went to the settings, got into the student view, got everything ready, and then Andy entered the picture. Now, the backbone or the do's and don'ts, I did explain to the tester some of the things I wanted him to do, how to follow it, but that was during the recording. And of course, I don't think he tested the search button, but it would be important to me and to anybody. I think even the person that owns the software, that we don't need to test something that's not going to be any value to the actual progress, the testing and progress of the testing. So when we're doing the testing, we want to remain on the site that's being tested and not to get first of all, not to get lost and not to get sidetracked. Follow the test that we're given. Of course, the test that we're given should be pilot tested first. That's when you could probably use friends or family, so you can perfect or at least get a little bit more critical on the scenarios that are being written and placed in front of the tester or that total stranger that you have. And finally, the last part is that the final test will be on the page, which means that just like the project and the assignment that we were given is to put the 4 scenarios on the page and turn that page in for credit. Well, basically those scenarios would be all on one page for the tester to test, and I did have that, and I did submit the usability release, and also Andy signed the testing agreement and went ahead and did the test. Now, I feel like the project or the task could have been at least 5 or 6, and yeah, I don't like usually doing the minimum, but I would have definitely done more than the minimum on this now that I understand. Having more scenarios and a little bit longer test would be more beneficial. Alright, this is the conclusion of my book notes, chapter 6. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much and have a great day.